Hello everyone, the December review here. 2024 is in the books, but before we get too ahead into the new year, I wanted to take a look at some of my favorite albums and songs from the year. I have a pretty wide palette for my musical taste. From the Monkees to Machine Head, I can listen to a wide range of bands, but I do gravitate towards singer-songwriter material. Like all forms of art, music is subjective. I appreciate all artists and love to hear recommendations for new bands. For me, the lyrics are front and center. Give me an album that dives headfirst into personal retrospect, and if it clicks, I'll have it on repeat for days. So with all that said, here's a look at my 5 favorite albums from 2024, followed by my favorite songs of the year.
My second nature to wander through the pet store and stare into the sideways gaze of a lizard doesn't always make me feel better, just less alone. Less alone.
New York singer Cassandra Jenkins released her 3rd album in 2024 with My Light, My Destroyer. And this album is a spiritual journey that shifts into different realms on each track. It's a pop album at times, it's a rock record. It's a mid-90s synth exploration, and it's a heavy dose of soul-searching, all within its 13 tracks. Devotion is the first song, and it's a battle cry of sorts for the album, perfectly capturing the essence of the record. Its first line, "I think you've mistaken my desperation for devotion," hits like a featherweight sledgehammer, while an acoustic guitar and eventual French horns swirl into a subtle build. Petco explores secluded walks through the pet store. Aurora, Illinois takes its title from Wayne's World, and Only You is a New York dream sequence love song.
You're the only one I've ever loved, the only one that I know how to love. You're the only one I've ever loved, the only one that I know how to love.
And it's all counterbalanced with instrumental moments of space exploration and string arrangements. Clam's Casino is my personal favorite here. The song paints an honest look at loneliness and starting over, which is all built around driving guitars and excellent dynamics. The album flirts with humor, as there are multiple moments of comedy sprinkled throughout that help keep the isolation lifted so it all doesn't get too heavy. And it's all blanketed over Cassandra's soothing vocals and near whisper. Her voice is so well recorded here, as is the whole album. The production is as good as it gets, with so many nuanced instruments perfectly placed. My Light, My Destroyer is a sonic exploration into life, love, and what it all means. It's sad, it's funny, and it's hopeful, and it's one of the best records of 2024.
Who the hell am I supposed to be? Who the hell am I supposed to be? Who the hell am I supposed to be? So I cut the shackles and changed my name, and I shed my past like skin on skin. But came so far to get lost at sea. Oh, where the hell am I supposed to be? And the sirens scream down every road while the sun's light up. There's a way to go, but I'm attached to my worst enemy. Oh, who the hell am I supposed to be? Oh, 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 oh,
Channel favorite Alice Merton kept rolling along in the year, following up her excellent second album, Sides, with the EP Heron, which contains 5 brand new Alice Merton gems. One of my favorite aspects about Alice's music is lyrically, the songs speak in a relatable way about everyday life moments, from relationships with others and yourself. Alice has a firm grasp on being very headstrong from within. There's always a perspective of, how can I help me first? And how do the things around me maintain a positive journey? It's been evident in past songs like Why So Serious, Learn to Live, and Love Back. and that perspective continues here on the latest EP. Look no further than How Well Do You Know Your Feelings. The song is a musical pep talk with a chorus that wants the listener to be thoughtful of themselves. Runaway Girl is an aggressive starting over anthem. In between the lines examines a relationship where things are holding back and need to move forward.
But we're still standing, bearing the light of the day. Yeah, we're still standing, waiting for something to say. But in between the lines, I see words of gold that you've been scared to say. In between the lines, I see hearts explode. I watch colors change, and I'm looking at you from the side. Yeah, you're looking at me from the side. But in between the lines, I see words of gold that you've been scared to say.
And it's all done with Alice's trademark approach of studio mastery. All of her previous records sound great. There's an attention to detail on mastering every song to its highest quality, with very subtle sound mixes and vocal flourishes that twist and bend around the speakers, sprinkled through each track. Add to it the insanely catchy hooks and danceable beats that are the starting point for most of her songs, and it all adds up to making sure that Alice Merton is in your daily playlist. I was fortunate enough to see Alice perform again this year. In fact, concerts in general made a solid comeback in the year. In addition to Alice, I was able to catch a handful of artists, including the Beths, Debbie Gibson, Madison Cunningham, the Black Crowes, Silver Sun Pickups, Alan Howarth. And I was very fortunate to see 3 Flock of Dimes Undertow shows. Undertow is a company that helps artists bring their music to a very intimate location. We're talking about living rooms, backyards, and coffee shops. If you are into more indie artists, I would recommend keeping an eye on the Undertow show listings. It's an amazing way to see music.
My spirit is dry. It's been sleeping enough. I remember what it feels like when it's up. I wanna wake it up.
Years ago, the industry was of course driven by MTV and radio. If an artist was able to get played there, then album sales would follow. Now the landscape has changed so much with streaming, it has become a much different world. One that is much more difficult for independent artists and labels. I recommend seeing your favorite bands live as much as possible to support them, since streaming has nuked the album sales' true representation of income for bands. And of course, please visit the merch table while you're there. It truly does go a long way in allowing the whole musical world to exist. Okay, back to the list.
I've been mourning you since the day I met you. Stranger, come on my path and I'll eat you up. I'll tear you limb from limb or I'll fall in love. Reckless, reckless, reckless. If your love was an anchor, then I am lost at sea. I hear the riders calling, they're calling for me.
Next up is the return of St. Vincent, aka Annie Clark, who brings her 7th solo studio album, All Born Screaming, into the list. One thing you can always expect from St. Vincent is that you can never expect anything in her world of shape-shifting musical greatness. After taking on the 70s in her previous incarnation, 2021's monumentally excellent Daddy's Home, the tide has shifted into much darker territory. We are taking a deep dive into retro 90s industrial with that distinctive St. Vincent uniqueness. Think 9 Inch Nails meets David Bowie, and that's the starting point for this rather intense record. Things kick off with a melodic Hell Is Near, an almost self-proclaiming start over from the Daddy's Home and Nowhere In era. Its synth-heavy hooks lay the groundwork while Annie's voice flawlessly sets the proceedings. Things stay low-key with the follow-up Reckless, a sinister track that lyrically starts to clue the listener into the album's themes, until the bottom falls out 2/3 of the way through with a beat that would make Trent Reznor proud. From there, the album kicks into high gear with a back-to-back-to-back triple play of St. Vincent rock and roll, with Broken Man, Flea, and the fantastic Big Time Nothing blaring through your speakers. Things slow down a bit again after that with a few moodier tracks that paint a rather dystopian worldview with lots of space references and metaphors. And the album closes with its title track, an epic 7-minute epilogue that puts a bow on this St. Vincent chapter. With its excellent percussion, the song would fit right in on the otherworldly Fiona Apple album, Fetch the Bolt Cutters. There's a whole lot of detail going on throughout All Born Screaming. At times, it's a rough and tumble and bleak record, and that's counterbalanced with almost dreamlike sequences and moments of clarity. And there's a handful of excellent instrumental sections here. For as easy as it is to notice St. Vincent's onstage theatrics and presentations, for me, the main draw is the unique musical talent that she harnesses with the guitar. On the surface, All Born Screaming is a gloomy stare into its what does it all mean bravado, but it's an extremely well put together rock album with a very unique vantage point for the story that it wants to tell. And for fans of Annie Clark, we wouldn't expect anything less. The Black Crowes. For those who know me know that my musical world revolved around this band for decades. I was lucky enough to see Jealous Again debut on MTV back in 1990, convinced my mom to immediately buy me Shake Your Moneymaker, saw my first show in 1992, and it's been a never-ending ride since. Well, sort of. The band has had more problems and lineup changes than Spinal Tap, but there was always a constant thread of Chris and Rich Robinson alongside Steve Gorman, and for the better part of their run, Sven Pippian to be the Cosmic Crow's glue. But that has all changed with the departure of Steve and a switch to the dreaded Live Nation touring machine. Gone are the varied set lists and affordable prices. Gone are the 10-minute My Morning songs and surprise thunderstorm 654s. But I could talk about that in a whole other video, which I will, when I rank the entire Crows albums later this year. It will act as one part music video and another part therapy session. However, the band did manage to get back into the studio to record their first proper album in 15 years. I have to admit my expectations were rather low. All signs were pointing towards a bit of a disaster in the making. Even if Steve was still around and even if the stars aligned and Mark Ford was there, they probably weren't going to outdo their first 4 albums run. That's the stuff of mythical legends. So what were the chances of this newly minted, past be darned version of the band managed to do? Well, they put out a great rock album, a very good Black Crowes record, and managed to turn the tide in their favor for the first time in years. Happiness Bastards is a great rock album, especially within the context of 2024 and where rock bands fit into the scope of national notoriety in today's musical landscape. In true recent Crows form though, the title is quite silly, and the artwork is, well, interesting. It's just a covered up picture of the band's second album, The Southern Harmony and Musical Companion. Mark Ford and Johnny Colt, who aren't even in the band, are on the cover. Well, that not-so-subtle dig aside, what's actually on the record is quite good. It kicks off with the excellent Bedside Manners, an upbeat, double-timed reintroduction to the Crows that's a nice statement on the brothers' rock abilities. Cross Your Fingers morphs from acoustic to Zeppelin heavy to funk to an excellent guitar solo, all without missing a beat. Dirty Cold Sun is a standout here, and Follow the Moon tries to outdo it with its riff madness. Lyrically, Chris doesn't stray too much into retrospection. This is mostly a landscape of, hey, we're back, we rock, you did me wrong and we still rock. The album is more about the bang versus the more nuanced Chris Robinson save from the New Earth Mud, CRB, or the early Crows records. Wanting and Waiting is the high point here. The first single off the record manages to let its guard down while still maintaining the Crows' mission of rock credentials. It's a relatable track about lost love and one for me that should stand alongside anything in their vast catalog. Being a Crows fan for this long is like going a few rounds with prime Mike Tyson. You're battered, you're weary, and you're not sure where things stand, but you know that you are in the company of at least a version of one of the best bands to still be standing in rock and roll history.
How this is supposed to go to keep the devil in me from her big top one-man show.
Back in March, I pronounced that Goose by Mol Sullivan was my record of the year, and not only does it take my #1 spot, but it's also become an all-time favorite for me. Goose is the first full-length LP from the Cincinnati singer-songwriter, who has 2 other excellent EPs available with Winter 13 and A Little Hello. The former was also just re-released, and I of course recommend checking them out as well. For Goose, the album kicks off with the exceptional Still Tryin'. It's a catchy acoustic introduction to this collection of songs. There are very subtle dynamics throughout this album, and Still Tryin' is a great example of letting each moment shine. Take for instance the slight build-up to the song's one chorus section, which is built around multiple verses. The drums and guitar are so aligned, with crystal clear hi-hat and cymbal snaps lighting the way. And the section is highlighted with layered falsetto vocals that all come together as an almost symphony of sound. And perhaps the best moment is the sneaky background vocal that is only there for one line that leads into the next verse. And the album is loaded with moments like this. Cannonball features an almost circus-inspired piano line and swirling pedal steel guitar. Notice during this chorus when the line "clocks faces hit away" is sung, the percussion knocks that mimic the second hand of a watch. I can picture a grandfather clock keeping time alongside the music.
Where has all the time gone? Clocks faces hid away. Looking for a savior. Getting in my own damn way.
Like This Now is a twisting and prodding slow burn that has an almost panic emotion behind its relationship gone wrong story. Every instrument digs into each downbeat as if everything weighs 100 pounds before allowing some space to breathe during its one chorus. The album has a unique song structure that doesn't exactly follow the usual verse-chorus-verse standard of most songs. This leads to a very dynamic and unexpected journey, since you're not sure what to expect next. It can also almost be split into two separate halves, with the first featuring the more upbeat songs, while the second half illuminates on quieter piano arrangements. Marrying Type is a near 7-minute lament on finding true love and features not only a great vocal carousel, but also a fantastic piano lead that literally dances underneath the main structure of the song. And the album is mixed very well. It's open, not compressed, which lets its layers really stand out. Eggshells has one of the best vocal deliveries I've heard in some time, and that space really allows for each word and melody to reach its full impact. Goose is at once a dynamic yet quiet record. It paints a vivid look at love and getting older and moving on. It wonders where things have gone, and it also knows it can't continue down a path that's not fulfilling. It's an emotional roller coaster through the lens of a sober life cycle, with flawless vocals and excellent production, and it's my choice for album of 2024. If you like this video, please subscribe to the channel and let me know your choices for favorite music of the year in the comments section below. Now here's my list of songs of the year. Thanks for watching.
I know we don't stand a chance, but give me this last dance. I'm nothing but lonely, waiting and wanting. Said I'm wanting and waiting for you. All right.
Absent-minded, slightly cautious, city walkers. Will you have your words of love in late October? I never get lonesome. I never get lonesome, but sometimes I change my mind.
Where do I go from here? How do I keep on believing? Where do I go from here? So I don't collapse into dreaming. On the freeway we sat alone, although I guess we had each other. No, I don't want the radio. Give me oceans of silence to swim in.
I wanna see you
that you're falling, you're spiraling. And I ask you with a wondering smile, yeah, I ask you without trying to pry. Oh, I ask you the question of all the questions. Oh, oh, how well do you know your feelings? How well do you know yourself at all? How well do you know your feelings? How well do you know yourself? 'Cause when you hide your scars, you hide your heart away. And when you're locked down in the dark, nobody knows what to say, knows what to say. So I got bored, got loose and left yeah, the solid ground holding me. Still I'm trying to hold on. Hold Isn't it obvious? Maybe, baby, we only have one life to live. I try my best to make the most of it. Let's see what rises up inside. Take my time, don't have to say why. Pleasure's like a butterfly. Can you see the colors? Everything I don't wanna live alone anymore. I knew it was time to put the suit away when I ripped the knees open, eating the pavement. Doris loved her American cars. This one seemed just about every state. When it came time to take the keys away, she said, hey, 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 hey. Why'd you have to go and do me like that? Don't you know I don't wanna live alone anymore? I don't wanna live alone anymore. Certain is the weight of work burdens you. Remember when we had lunch checking? It felt like something that we never get through. And we say, when things are better, we forget the nights and phone calls that we regret. Count the seconds and the minutes and the hours and the days that were